Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm sharing 4 all new summer decor DIYs that are all watermelon themed. Each project is easy and affordable to create, and I do want to thank Factor for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get right into it. For the first DIY today, I'm going to be using one of these round unfinished wood pieces from Hobby Lobby. You can get these in, I believe, a pack of 5. First thing I'm doing is using some painter's tape to mark off the very top of the wood round, and then I'm going to be using my folk art wood tint in the color walnut to stain above where I just put the painter's tape. I'm then removing the tape. I'm going to be using that same piece and I'm just placing it right on the edge of where that stain stops. I'm then using a second piece of tape and then just marking off the bottom of the wood round. Then in that center between the two pieces of tape, I'm using my Waverly chalk paint in the color ivory. I'm then removing those 2 pieces of tape, and then I'm taking a third piece of tape and placing it right on the edge of that ivory color, just so that I don't get any of the stain that I'm going to be using on the ivory that I just painted. And the stain is that same folk art wood tint in walnut, just like the top, and then once that's all stained, I'm removing that last piece of tape. Next, I'm going to be using this unfinished wood watermelon piece that I had in my craft stash. For the outside of the watermelon, I'm using this teal colored paint pen from Temu. And then for the inside of the watermelon, I'm using this like orangey red color. Not really your traditional watermelon colors, but I just love these because they are so bright. Then I thought it would be really cute if I used my white paint pen and just went around all of the outside edges of the watermelon just to kind of make those areas pop a little bit. I'm then going to be using these unfinished wood letters to spell out the word hello, and these ones I did get from Hobby Lobby. And then for all of these letters, I'm using a white paint pen. I'm using some more of those unfinished wood letters from Hobby Lobby to spell out the word summer. And then for these, I'm going to be starting with that like orangey red colored paint pen that I have. And then I'm going to do every other letter to spell out summer in this color. Then the other letters, every other letter, I'm doing in that teal color. I'm then just getting my hello letters all centered right above the ivory that I have painted in the middle, and I'm hot gluing each one of them down. Then for the letters to spell out summer, I did the same thing, just made sure I had them centered before I started hot gluing each one of the letters down. I then used hot glue to attach the watermelon right in the bottom stained portion of my sign. Then I'm going to be using this red and white checked ribbon and then this like tan and white polka dot ribbon. I'm just cutting 2 pieces of each, so 2 of the checked and 2 of the polka dot ribbon. And then I did want to have like a V shape at the ends of all of my ribbons, so I'm going to be just cutting those into a V shape. I'm then stacking the ribbon all on top of each other, starting with the polka dot, then checked, then polka dot, then checked again. And then I just used a piece of jute twine and tied it right around the middle. I then used some hot glue to attach the ribbon right in the center above the word hello. And then I did end up making a really small jute bow, and then I'm just hot gluing that right in the center of my ribbon. I then used some jute twine again as the hanger that's going to go along the back of my sign. I just cut 2 pieces of the jute, made some knots on each end, and then hot glued those along the back side of my sign. And here is the sign all finished. I think it turned out so cute, and I ended up placing it on one of the hangers on my front porch. Now moving into DIY number 2. For this one, I'm using one of these unfinished wood house shapes from Hobby Lobby. And the first thing I'm doing is just painting the entire house with my Waverly chalk paint in the color ivory. I'm then using 3 unfinished wood letters, H, M, and E, and then this unfinished half watermelon from Dollar Tree. And then for all of the letters, I'm using a black paint marker to color them in. And then for the watermelon, I'm using the color Red Cardinal from Folk Art on the inside. And then for the outside, I'm using the color from Folk Art called Antique Green. I'm then using my black paint marker once again, and I'm just going around all of the outside edges of the house just to make those pop a little bit more, and I just think that added such a cute little detail. And then I'm going to be using some hot glue to attach all of my letters and my watermelon, but I did put them down to make sure that they were like where I wanted them to be before I started gluing each one of them down. Next, I wanted to use some of this green ribbon that I have and some of this red and white checked ribbon. I think they are really cute together. So what I did is just cut 2 of the green and 2 of the checked, and then I stacked them on top of each other, starting with green, then the red checked, then green, then red checked again. And then I used a piece of jute twine and just tied that around the very center. I then hot glued the ribbon at the very top of the house, and then I did end up trimming the ends of the ribbon just a little bit and cut them into a diagonal shape. This is what the house looks like all finished. It is so simple but super cute, and it would be perfect for a tiered tray or shelf this summer. Moving right along into DIY number 3, for this one I'm going to be using this book stack that I recently picked up from the clearance section at Hobby Lobby. It was under $3.50 and I knew it would be perfect to redo. So the first thing I'm doing is using my Folk Art paint in the color Red Cardinal, and I painted the top of this book stack and then also that first like little layer there with that color. And I did have to do a few coats to cover all those words up. And then for the second layer underneath that red, I'm doing in the color Ivory from Waverly. Then on the third layer of the book stack, I'm using the color from Folk Art called Antique Green. Next, I'm using some black chalk paint on a smaller brush, and then I'm just going in between all of those little grooves between each one of the colors. I'm going to be using some of these chipboard letters. These are from Hobby Lobby, and this one spells out hello. And I'm painting all of these letters with the ivory colored paint from Waverly. Then with those same letters, I spelled out the word sweet, and I'm painting all of these ones with my rich black chalk paint from Folk Art. And then I'm also spelling out the word summer with these same chipboard letters, and I'm using ivory on all of these to spell out summer. I then placed those letters on the book stack how I wanted them to be. I did the word hello in the red section, the word sweet in the ivory section, and summer in the green section. I then just hot glued each one of the letters back down. I'm using some of this green and white checked ribbon from my craft stash, and I just measured it to the length that I needed to have it go around the book stack. As you can see here, I just wrapped it around the empty left-hand side, and then I'm hot gluing the ribbon along the bottom. Since this ribbon is pretty thin, I decided to double it up, so I did the same thing, just measured it out, cut it down to size, and then hot glued the bottom of the ribbon along the back side, or the bottom side. I then wanted to add a little bit more detail, so I'm using that same ribbon, and I'm just doing it in the opposite direction around the book stack, just hot gluing those ends along the bottom, and then the same thing, just wanted it to be a little bit thicker, so I did a second ribbon going in that same direction. Then to add one last finishing touch, I'm using some of this red ribbon from my stash, and I just created a double bow, and then I'm just going to be hot gluing that right where the two directions of the green and white checked ribbon come together. I'm just hot gluing that right on top. Here is the book stack all finished. I think it is so cute, and it was really easy to do. I just love all of these watermelon colors together. As you guys know, today's video is sponsored by Factor. My family has been so super crazy busy this summer, and I don't have a ton of time to do a lot of food prep. So instead of getting takeout all the time, we've been trying out these Factor meals, and let me tell you, They have been so good. The taste is amazing and they're super convenient. There's no prep work and they are ready in just 2 minutes. It's been so nice not having to worry about preparing meals for my family and still getting the nutritional value that we all need. Not to mention how much money I'm saving by not getting takeout multiple times a week. With Factor, you can choose from 6 up to 18 meals a week, and you can choose meals that work with any dietary restrictions. They have meats, seafood, and veggie dishes. You can even do the add-ons that they have for like veggie sides, soups, juices, and even desserts. The Factor meals are never frozen and they come looking like this. You just take off the front package, use a fork to puncture some holes in the top, and then just place it in your microwave for 2 minutes and then your meal is ready. Could not be easier than that, and they taste amazing. Each one of Factor meals is made completely from scratch with the freshest possible ingredients. And once you've made your order online, each one of your boxes comes right to your door, fresh, never frozen. If you've been wanting to try Factor for a while, now is a great time to do so. If you go and use my code Christina50, you can get 50% off of your order. They have so many great meal options. You will never get bored. I love all of them that I've had so far, and this chicken shredded taco bowl is one of my favorites. Now for the fourth and final DIY today. For this one, I'm going to be using one of these unfinished wood plaques. This one is from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to be using my folk art wood tint and walnut to stain all of the outside edge or the frame of this piece. And then once that's stained, I'm just going to be painting the entire inside with the Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory. I'm then using one of these unfinished wood watermelons from Dollar Tree a few years ago. And then for the inside of the watermelon, I'm using the folk art paint in red cardinal. And then around the outside edges, I'm using the folk art paint in antique green. Then I'm going to be using my black Sharpie to just color in the seeds of the watermelon. I cut out these farm fresh words on my Cricut, and I'm just going to be getting them transferred onto my transfer tape so that I can place them in the inside of my frame, and I just did that at the very top. Then I'm just using some hot glue to attach the watermelon right underneath the words in the center, and then I'm also using this watermelon vinyl cutout that I did also on my Cricut, and then I just got that all transferred underneath the wood watermelon. I then decided I wanted to add lines on each side of the watermelon, so I just used this Post-it packet that was near me just to have a straight edge, and then I just colored above that with my Sharpie to create the line, and I did that on both sides. This is what it looks like all finished. It was so easy to do, super affordable, and I love how it turned out. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, I hope that you will consider subscribing. And please let me know in the comments down below which project from today's video was your favorite. And I do want to thank Factor again for sponsoring today's video. Thank you so much for watching.